Hey, welcome here. Hello to Janey and my other gardening friends. I am Carissa and this is Carissa's garden. We are in the winter here, or at least the beginnings of it, end of the fall, that type of thing. So unfortunately my garden is put to bed. The first frost we had was about mid-October, a little bit normal for our area. I garden here in zone 4B in south central BC, Canada. So our gardening season, like I said, first frost is about October, and then our last is usually May. So that gives us a good break in the winter to kind of dream about what we would like to do. But yeah, so a little bit about me. We garden here on 5 acres. Behind me you can see there's a vegetable garden. I love to landscape. I like to try and see what works, what doesn't work in our area. I really am inspired by cottage gardens, but also wildlife gardens. There's just something so beautiful about, you know, a formal, put together landscaping bed, but then there's also the beauty in that sort of wild look that just looks like, you know, it was planted there by itself. So I definitely like a wide variety of different gardening styles. I also have a cut flower garden at the bottom of our property, and I sell bouquets to a local shop in town, which has been a lot of fun. I love to grow flowers, definitely, for cut flowers, and also just to have a beautiful landscape in our yard. We have kids, so we definitely have to have a large green space for them to play soccer and play and all that, which is a lot of fun. We also deal with some pests and some wildlife. We have tons of birds, tons of squirrels, chipmunks, bears, deer, you name it, we probably have it. As you can see, we're in the forest. So with the beautiful evergreens comes, you know, the wildlife, and it's their home too. So it's beautiful to see them in their natural habitat. But, you know, I grow cherry tomatoes and sometimes I don't get to eat any because the squirrels eat them all. So those are some of the challenges that I face here. We're also in a semi-arid climate. We get very, very little water. We irrigate here with drip and sprinklers, obviously. But there is this little corner of our property. Actually, it's in the middle of our property. And we call it the secret garden because it is just, if you drove past it on our driveway, you probably wouldn't even see it from the road. It's just sort of like full of evergreens and lilac bushes, irises, and it's just a really neat space, and there's actually no irrigation there. So when the original plants were planted, I'm sure that they were watered really well, and we get, you know, a bit of rain once in a while, but they deal with a lot of dryness. And they thrive, so it's really a nice spot in our yard. It's really nice to see, you know, the different ways you can kind of create microclimates in your own property. So that's something I'm really passionate about. Also regenerative gardening, giving back to our soil and making sure that our beautiful yards are also healthy, because I think that creates a beautiful yard, actually. I like to say a beautiful yard is a healthy yard. So just feeding our soil and giving it the nutrients we need really makes a successful garden, right? And it takes a lot of the pressure off to make these plants thrive when they're not actually that happy. Those are some of the things I'm really interested in. I love to garden. It's been such a joy to see other fellow YouTubers create spaces. Janey, your new property is beautiful. And throughout the winter seasons, I do start seeds for a lot of my vegetables, for my cut flowers. I definitely love trying the winter sowing method. It has been such a joy. Some plants just really do well with the winter sowing method. That's with those winter jugs, you know, you put them in the snow, and then by the spring, they're like a pretty decent plant, planting them out in your landscape. We have fruit trees, we have a mini orchard, if you want to call it that. We just love everything. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah, so I hope that you enjoyed this video. I will insert some more clips and pictures to give you a view of what our garden looks like when it's actually beautiful and green. So here I am in front of some of our orchard trees. We have apple, pear, plum. The apricot didn't make it. We also have cherry, and it's been a lot of fun to kind of, you know, take advantage of these mature trees as we sort of learn about how to take care of apples and what fruit trees need, and the different pruning and things like that. So that's been a lot of fun. So as you can see behind me, I've got some apple trees, and below I actually planted underneath. We used to have grass in this area, and grass, as you know, is not very beneficial. It's beautiful, it's definitely necessary for kids to play on, but as far as tree health, it's not the best thing to have above your roots. So I've actually planted some beneficial perennials underneath, a lot of bulbs as well to come up in the spring. So that's been a lot of fun. So behind me is what I was calling our secret garden. And we have just like a circular driveway, and in the middle is just this little area that you just don't expect to see. So like I said, we've got firs and pines and junipers that grow very easily in our dry climate without irrigation in this little area. But I've added some things. We've got like a little arbor here made out of just Saskatoon berry branches. I think you guys call them serviceberry, our neighbors to the south. So anyway, we have those growing everywhere. So I made like a little arbor here just to kind of walk through, because it just feels so magical when you're in here. And I think in the spring I'll do some jobs cleaning it up and just kind of reclaiming some of the pathways that were there. But it's a really nice space, very serene, very unexpected, and I really like this area of our property. We have an extremely windy day here, so I hope you can hear me. This is another spot that I have really enjoyed. We did this project this year, this little area. So this is my flower shed. I cut flowers for selling at a local store here in town. And I also dry and store a lot of my supplies in this shed, and it's been a lot of fun to sort of decorate and landscape around. I really like raised bed gardening for the obvious reasons, less weed pressure, and it's a little bit elevated, easier to weed and take care of, and it just looks so beautiful in my opinion. So I've got, I think 8 raised beds in this area, just kind of going for that cottagey look. And then to my other side, I've got this peony bed. So I've got about 60 or 70 peonies growing here, obviously for cut flowers. But then I intermixed it with some perennials as well. It sort of extends the season, so it's not just this big flush of peonies, but also some perennials blooming intermixed as well. So this area has been a joy to use and grow and just be in. We are in my flower garden. So this area is about 33 by 90, I think, about 3,000 square feet. And it gives me a great space. I have about 24 4 by 8 beds, and it gives me a great space to try different cut flowers. Every space is so unique, every year is so unique. So it's really interesting to kind of see what flowers work and what flowers don't work. Depending on, like I said, the season, the year, there could be extreme pressure from pests. And also some flowers just don't work in your zone. So I think it's been a lot of fun just to try what works and what doesn't work here. So you can see everything's hit by the frost, so there's nothing growing here. If you're familiar with permaculture gardening or regenerative gardening, you can you know that it's very beneficial to leave some of your plants up in the winter months for birds, overwintering beneficials. I heard somewhere that like 90% of our bugs are actually beneficial to us. So I would rather leave them here and let them overwinter and sort of get a head start on the next season, getting all the pests that you don't kind of want around. So yeah, I've grown zinnias, cosmos, snapdragons, straw flowers, sunflowers, you name it. I have probably tried it, and it is so fun to arrange them, it's so fun to grow them, and it's so fun to dream of what to grow in the next year, which is what I'm going to be doing soon. I hope you enjoyed my tour. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Some of the other things I do on my channel are crafting with what I grow. Obviously with the dried flowers, I do a lot of wreaths and that type of thing. I also love houseplants. Growing houseplants just gives us that extra little, dirt underneath our fingernails when we can't do that outside. But yeah, nice to meet you guys all via internet, and I hope you guys have a great day. And thanks again, Janey, for putting this together.